Hello, fabulous family. Sally the Seeker here. I hope you all are doing well. Well, a little bit more from Sarah Boone. Now, most of y'all might be already aware of this, and I was aware of this when this most recent letter came out, which was about a month ago, but I never can get it all together and get it up in time. It's just, due to my limited everything. But that's okay, whether you've heard it or not. Maybe you'd still like to hear my take on it. And as always, this is just a reaction, whether it's a court letter or a video, because I am not a lawyer. This is for those of you all who are new to this channel. Welcome if this is your first time. We're always happy to have you here. I just react, I comment, I do read a lot and research, but I am definitely not an expert in anything. I'm just someone with a big interest and a big opinion. So Sarah Boone, as we know, has been through multiple attorneys, and I believe now she's on attorney 7. And his name is Hobson. I know his last name is Hobson. We'll get to that. I think obviously her trial will not be happening until 2024. But this is a different kind of letter, but it's still written in the same Sarah Boone kind of fashion. It's block letters, lots of adjectives, way too much. But again, she's the wrong one. People are being mean to her. They're being cruel to her. And this time it's her ex-husband, Brian Boone, because Sarah wants her alimony. And the thing about it is, in this letter, you're going to hear about all these horrible things about how abusive Brian, her ex, is. And, he said some nasty things. And their son that they share together, Lucas, he is, at the time that the crime was committed, he was 9. So now, it's in 2020, so I'm thinking he's got to be around 13 now. So that's a very impressionable age. But apparently, as we will find out in the letter, her son has not been speaking well to her. And I can't help but laugh because, well, I don't know if y'all ever saw the police interview or interrogation, whatever you want to say, with Sarah's ex-husband, Brian, but I do have it. I have the audio, and I will try to drop a link in this video, but for those of you who know me, I'm very limited in my technical abilities. And so if for some reason I'm not able to drop it, I should be able to. I don't know why I should. I'm not that bad. But all you have to do is, and most of y'all probably know this, but if you click on my channel and then you go over right underneath and click on videos, the videos will appear in order as I have put them up. And this one is about 4 months back, so you have to scroll down a little bit. But it's the title of it is Sarah Boone, Ex-Husband, Police Interrogation Audio. And I'll put that in either in the description or right at the top of where the comments are. Because I think to hear the husband speak, hear his side of the story, and again, this is my opinion, Sarah is the one that is the loose cannon. Based on everything, if he was that horrible when she discovered George was dead in the suitcase, Brian, her ex, was the first person she called. So clearly she's very dependent upon him. And when they divorced, he bought her out of the house that they shared together. And they share custody of Lucas, or they did share custody of Lucas, but just by listening to his interview, it just sounds like she wasn't reliable. I mean, even like Sarah was supposed to pick up Lucas, I believe, that next morning after, the whole thing with George, and he tried to call her, Brian, the ex, multiple times. He said 5 or 6 times he couldn't get her. And then I guess that's when she woke up and called him and please come down here. And of course, smartly, he did not go inside the apartment where poor George was. And he was on this audio. It's about with me talking, with my little injections I put in there, injecting my opinions. It's probably 20, 30 minutes long, but it's very interesting because to me, he sounds like a very normal guy. He sounds frustrated. It sounds like, Sarah and George really didn't work much. Poor Brian, who obviously works, has a full-time job. His money was paying for Sarah and George. And like I said, if you haven't listened or seen the interrogation or the interview of the police and her ex, Brian, it will really help you to appreciate this scathing letter she's written, because Brian just really sounds like a nice guy. And it sounds like, based on what he was saying to the police, he talked about her drinking problem that clearly I think we all realize she probably has. That'll come back into focus. He was saying that, well, I guess she always drank, but it seemed like things got worse when Lucas, there we go, when Lucas was born. So apparently, according to him, she felt kind of trapped, and she liked to go down and play at the pool hall, and I think that's where she met George. So she really still wasn't willing to take responsibility as an adult. Surprise, surprise. But of course, according to her, Brian is the horrible person. But it sounds like Brian has been the main caregiver of poor Lucas. And if Lucas is, of course, I don't believe in being disrespectful to your parents. But I mean, look, his mother, it sounds like, that's just my opinion, that his mom really hasn't spent a lot of time with him. He's probably seen her with George zipped up in the suitcase and her going, "How's my name? Don't wear it out," in her drunken stupor. And like there were days she was supposed to take Lucas, and she'd make up excuses like, "Oh, today wasn't a good day," or "George is in a bad mood." And he thinks she just wanted an excuse to party. And he's known her for a long time. They've known each other. They've known each other for about, well, at that time, 20 years. It's probably more now, 4 years later. And they were married for about 14, 15 years. And like he sounds like he says the alcohol got worse after Lucas. And so, to me, again, my opinion, but he sounds like a nice guy who took a lot of crap from Sarah, and she took advantage of him. Really didn't have a lot of time for their son. She was too busy partying and doing puzzles and paints and zipping up people in suitcases. And so, well, again, I say I don't think kids should be disrespectful to their parents. I don't know that I totally blame him if she hasn't had a lot to do with him. And here she is in jail for zipping up somebody in a suitcase and him, perishing afterwards. So again, I will put the title of that video because it will give you an idea of what kind of guy he is. And he just sounds like a really nice guy who's a poor guy. So here is a letter, and she's admonishing the judge and, of course, her ex and even her son for how mean they are. So this letter was written on September the 5th. And that was before she changed over from Mr. Bankowitz, the next to the last attorney she had. So she was, in this one, she's trying to say she doesn't currently have an attorney, but this is right before they made the changeover, and Mr. Hobson is now her attorney. Hopefully for the rest of the time so we can get this woman a criminal, for her criminal attorney for trial. So here's a letter. I tried to put it up to where you all could see it too. I think hopefully I can get some sad music to play along in the background. So, and of course, it's addressed to Judge Michael Dean. Apparently, that was the judge who presided over Brian and Sarah's divorce. And it's like, so Sarah Boone, Brian Boone, case number, blah, blah, blah. Motion to read letter from respondent in schedule case management hearing. And it begins, Judge Michael Dean. Let's see. I tried to kind of blow it up and just kind of put it in pieces so maybe y'all could see it. In all my attempts, 16 plus, to protect myself and help from the still ongoing hate, lies, slander, degradation, cruelty, and active abuse, look at all the caps, from former husband Brian C. Boone, nothing has been improved, made better, corrected, relieved in any way for myself, me, the respondent, from former husband, sorry, her writing is hard to read, from former husband, the court or judge. I have tried everything. Bet you have. I have made innumerable requests and sent many letters asking for aid from all, with no success or assistance, listening or care by anyone other than myself, trying to relieve or altogether stop his inappropriateness, bitterness, anger, and wrongdoing. That's pretty brave of you to say as you're sitting up there in the county jail and accused for zipping up somebody in a suitcase. But hey, that's just me. Please see list below of my letters sent to you and court per the Records Management Division of the Clerk of Courts, when for the third time tried getting a copy of my active dissolution of marriage agreement. I cannot have because they are wanting payment in order to receive, and I am in jail. Oh, poor Sarah. I also have no bank accounts after the one I had was closed after having for 30 years due to non-payment. Why must she put these in caps? Non-payment of alimony from former husband and stated in prior letters. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's showing the list of all of her letters from April 12th, 2021 to this one, September 5th, 2023, her most recent one. None of us are surprised at the number of letters. All right. It is appalling how uninterested, uncaring, and nonchalant you and the justice system are about my side in any of this, and will not listen with all the right paperwork and attorney, knowing I am actively being taken advantage of and wrongfully mistreated by my former husband, Brian C. Boone. The one that you called the minute you found out George didn't make it, and who takes care of your son, I'm sure, well, all the time now, obviously. So she continues, you have continuously enabled him and given him a self-appointed right and understanding to keep doing, saying, and taking everything wrongfully and illegally from me, including and especially the love and respect for my son. It is not okay. You're a killer. That's why I'm not doing anything, former husband said, in front of son on phone. I'm just yelling because she has that part in caps. You are not important to anyone, former husband, numerous dates. You are not priority, former husband, numerous dates. Well, probably she's not. Their son is probably his priority. Dad says you're annoying and I'm sorry. Dad says you're annoying and beg all the time. Son told me after asking him to ask father or former, husband, if he finally ordered a book and hot meal after being made to call daily to check for 13 weeks. She wanted a book and a hot meal, damn it. I lie to you because I can. Dad does all the time, son. Oh boy, I cannot but laugh. Oh my gosh. You make no difference in our lives. Former husband, numerous dates. 9/4/23, I'm assuming is the most recent, unless something has happened since then. But up to this date when this letter was written. That's okay with you and acceptable, Judge Dean? Is that what you are giving him permission for and to keep doing and in front of my son? Why won't you stop any of his abuse, verbal, mental, and emotional? Why aren't you, as my judge, doing anything to hear, understand both sides? What else needs to be done to me by former husband in order for you to help me? What else can I do I have not done already for any relief on my side? Stop enabling judicially. You must know this is wrong and how I am being treated. I am told every time when trying to reduce any anguish or mistreatment from former husband and cooperate, trying to help. The judge doesn't care what you write. My son now says the same when I correct him on how he is being mean and rude to me. He's never going to do anything for you until your trial is over, and even then it will still all be in my favor. My other document is ready to go, so I can take so I can take the rest. I have an attorney. You deserve nothing. You mean nothing. So apparently this is husband Brian, or former husband, still speaking to her. Then former husband gets his precious attorney to file another answer denying allegations because I'm telling the truth all the time. Well, I doubt that. All the time doesn't apply to anybody, not even me. Maybe she is some of the time, but let's face it. All the time about his awful lies, and I am right. There is a lot of parallels here between her and Daryl Brooks. Let's get real. Judge Dean, so I have to continue taking former husband's abuse, neglect, unlawful actions, cruel comments, and hate until my trial? Whenever it happens? However long that will be now, considering my attorney has withdrawn from my care and no date of trial is known or will be for an undetermined amount of time. Oh, it's a question mark time. Well, of course, that was when Mr. Bankowitz got himself out of there, and she agreed to it, so she's kind of being pitiful. Of course, that was right before she got Mr. Hobson, so she does have one now. How much more hate and disrespect will former husband encourage my son to keep lying and overall being mean to me, his mother? Former husband is teaching and reflecting a terrible example of how women can and should be treated nonetheless, the mother of his child. This is egregious and wrong. Please read my prior motion for case management hearing I sent June 28, 2023, with no response to date. I am requesting again, please, to schedule. It is fair, and there are too many topics to be discussed, including my attorney, to write, and I only have one pen. We can only write with one pen at a time anyhow. Necessary, lawful, active, important topics. What is the certified notice of delinquent support filed on August 3rd, 2023? Please grant my motions and schedule my imperative, overdue, owed meeting. Everyone needs and must have the same understanding now and future. Understanding now and future, or in the future, maybe she's trying to say. It is fair. What else can I do? What's left except for begging, which former husband says I do all the time? What am I doing wrong in order to be treated rightfully, properly, ethically correct in order to finally receive your judicial assistance? How I am and have been and will be treated by former husband Brian C. Boone is unfair, malicious, and wrong, and should not be in any way allowed to continue. Stop. Please see, please listen, please help. Judge Dean, what was the reason for your comment made in your courtroom about former husband violating my constitutional rights? If you're not going to help or uphold said rights and lawfully allow me to use, what's the point? Why do I even have, I think she left a word out. No, I do, in order for you to remark and see they are being violated as of 9/19/22. Please schedule. It is my right. It is fair. Sincerely, Sarah Boone. Please send a copy of this letter so I know it was received and will serve as my receipt. Well, there you have it. Of course, that letter was sent to him on September 5th. It's almost 3 months later, so perhaps something else has transpired. I went and looked on the clerk of court things, but I'm not getting anything coming up from this judge. But let me see. This is, I did see this. It says court order and setting, reset notice. So I think maybe this was already done, but it looks like, so her attorney's name is Winston Hobson. Well, he also has D. David Verrett or Verray. I'm just going to say Winston Hobson, because why should I say 4 names? So it says So it looks like it's saying, as of now anyhow, that pre-trial, this is for the criminal case, of course, but I just decided, well, I found that on the site, in the court thing. It says, pre-trial is Tuesday, January 16th, 2024 at 9 a.m. And then allegedly, trial is supposed to start on Monday, January 28th. I'm sorry, I'm sitting here looking at 29th, I believe it is, 2024 at 9 a.m. That's what it looks like it is for now, but that's probably going to change. So there is the latest on Sarah, at least the latest I have. I'm not without sympathy because I do believe that people have a right to a trial and an attorney, and it does seem like perhaps she did get a little bit jilted on that, but I don't know how all of these letters of her always saying that she's right and everyone's wrong is going to help her. I know the saying about the squeaky wheel and all that, and I definitely believe in it, but I think you could do a little bit of squeaky wheel and maybe, you draw more flies with honey than poop. But, Sarah is, I do believe, I can't diagnose, my opinion, that she's a narcissist. And she really is not sad about what she did to George, because I don't think she did anything. I don't think she thinks she did any wrong, but it's all there on video. It's going to be an interesting trial whenever it gets started. But I will try to drop that link, like I said, of the video I put out about 4 months ago on the audio, the interview with Sarah's ex, Brian, because I think that'll help you hear what kind of guy he is and form an idea. He probably has every right to be mad. I'm not saying that everything the son says is wrong, but the son is probably upset too. Doesn't sound like she spent much time with him before, even before before she did what she did to George. But so I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you all so much for watching, commenting, and subscribing. I really do love you all and appreciate you. Make sure you be kind to one another. Make sure you be kind to you. And I will see you the next time.